It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. From Fantatrax TV, this is Good Morning Tatooine!
Good morning, Tatooine. We're back once again, not this week with your weekly recap of all the Star Wars and Lucasfilm news. I'm your host, Brian Calman. With me, as always, is Mr. Paul Naylor, who Paul is once again for about the 100th time this year on holiday. So we're doing a special pre-record and a special topic this week, Paul.
Yeah, it's that little-known film, Star Wars: A New Hope.
It's almost 50 years old. And
it is
the conclusion of the Death Star trilogy. If you go under Rogue One, A New Hope. So
it was a fantastic decision to make it.
The only way to cover A New Hope now is with an episode of the Death Star Cometh, Paul.
Yay!
The Death Star Cometh, Star Wars: A New Hope.
Oh, fantastic.
And it's Christmas.
The best part of the trilogy.
And it's Christmas. What more could you possibly want in the world than that?
Yeah. Where else could you get opinion?
It still says, look at that. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And now, as if by magic, it says A New Hope.
Ooh.
That's how swish and slick we are. Continuing
do we want
to
the
trilogy.
Do we want to talk about the technical problems or not?
We'd never want to talk about technical problems.
Let's just say we've had some.
We have had many this evening. But regardless,
we're here.
Do you remember seeing these credits?
I do. I actually remember seeing them without episode 4 at the top as well. And A New Hope. I think it was just called Star Wars, wasn't it? Yeah.
I actually saw the original cut just earlier this year at the British Film Institute.
Yeah, I wish I'd been there for that because fingers crossed that is going to be released widely in 2027 for the 50th anniversary. That would be a real smart move, but what do we know?
Yeah. Obviously, it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. We're getting told the story of Star Wars by some unknown alien race. And you can tell straight away in that first paragraph that they're bitter and twisted and have a biased opinion because they refer to the Galactic Emperor as evil. They don't even let you form your own opinion within one sentence. Shocking.
Yeah, the thought police.
I know, it is. They refer to the Death Star as the ultimate weapon when we know from Andor it's just an energy project.
Renewables.
Yeah. Refer to the Emperor's agents as being sinister.
Yeah.
That Princess Leia's racing home. But it does admit that she stole the plans. But then it claims it can restore freedom to the galaxy. Democratic rights getting taken away from the people. That's what Star Wars is about, people. The democratic elected Emperor.
All those, leave him alone.
He doesn't appear in this film, of course.
No, he's mentioned. He is mentioned.
He doesn't appear in the entirety of the Death Star Cometh trilogy.
No, he doesn't, does he?
No, and yet he gets blamed. He gets blamed for all the violence and killing.
Was he? He wasn't. No, he wasn't in Andor at all, was he?
No.
I'm thinking of his appearance in was it Ahsoka, where he looked really tiny eyes. He just didn't look right at all. There was something anyway that he was. No, it was Obi-Wan. He was in Obi-Wan, I think. Oh, I can't remember now. There's so much stuff going on there. And then who can forget that opening pan up to Tatooine, and then we got the Star Destroyer chasing the Tantu Fall. Who can forget that? It's amazing.
Still looks impressive on film, even today.
It does. And it is much copied.
And it's part of the genius of George Lucas and his directing and his storytelling, just that single introductory shot.
Well, people were just hooked straight away, weren't they? They just wanted to know more. So if you can do that in like 5 seconds, then you've achieved it. So, yeah.
And the first characters we see and hear from, two droids that we come to know as R2-D2 and C-3PO.
And who's that behind them?
Some weirdo. And obviously the Empire, being good and good governance, want to recover the plans that self-admittedly are stolen. So they board the ship. And
it's a very lively shot.
The Alderaanian soldiers draw their weapons. They're not even prepared to speak with the government officials at all.
They were only supposed to blow the bloody door.
Just supposed to blow the bloody door open. And Darth Vader, we're introduced to the big baddie, as they would like us to think. What did you think of Vader's entrance?
Beautifully introduced with John Williams music. I mean, that music alone just tells you that this is the baddie. It was a great entrance. I just about remember my initial thoughts about it back in '78 when I saw it. Brilliant stuff. I think the only thing that I would have loved them to have already written for this film would have been Vader's theme. The Imperial March is great, but Vader's theme is just something else. So I would have loved for that to have been the entrance.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, still fantastic. And I love the Corridors of the Tantive 4. And that one that came out the other year with the Vintage Collection. Brilliant. Such a good display stand for your action figures. But and again, it's a scene that's been copied so many times, even in Star Wars itself. So great stuff. Oh, here we go.
Even this next scene as well, with Princess Leia
taking some money out of the bank.
She's inserting a disc in R2 with the stolen plans, and Vader, meanwhile, helping this poor gentleman that somehow's choking, and Vader's just trying to help him breathe there a little bit.
Yeah.
And here's our diplomatic ambassador of Alderaan on a diplomatic mission. What does she do? Straight away, she draws her weapon, and she shoots and kills. But what do the stormtroopers say? Turn your blasters to stun, because they don't want violence. They're good people, and she does get stunned. Think of it if they just shot her in the back at this point. It would have been a different story, Paul.
Yeah, it's like the Mysterons from Captain Scarlet. You just need two of them. You'd be bless her, straight to the ground.
So while she's been captured, our two droids have escaped. Again, good governance here. The Empire option not to shoot down the escape pod because there's no human lives on board, and they want to preserve ammunition. You know, it's
save your lasers.
Yeah, save your laser, save some money, economies of scale, and all that. And Leia, she meets her father for the first time in her life at this scene. Unbeknownst to either of them, amazingly. And we get our first real close-up shot of the famous buns.
Yes, yeah, very neat.
And not the nicest of introductions for father and daughter, really. They're a little bit tense, and he basically accuses her of not being on a diplomatic mission and of being a rebel and a traitor. And she has truly taken
what's wrong
away.
with that? What's wrong with that? You know, got to rebel.
Meanwhile, the escape pod has landed on a desert planet that we become known to us as Tatooine. And
it's in everything.
Not long are they both captured, R2 by these lovely little Jawas. Signs once again that droids are bad, littering in the desert. Just shedding pieces. Shocking.
Look, sir, droid. Oh, sir, a penny.
What do you think of the dewbacks that got added to A New Hope?
I mean, there were like mannequin versions of the dewback. So the dewback was always there, but the digitally created ones, I think for the time that they came out, 97, they were very good. but also perhaps a little bit unnecessary.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
Yeah,
It's an interesting addition. Um,
yeah,
we move to the interior of the Jawas sandcrawler, and C-3PO and R2-D2 are reunited, and the Jawas park up at a moisture farmer's farm, ask if he wants to get his driveway tarred, and he declines. And so instead, they start looking at buying a couple of droids. And we're introduced to Uncle Owen and his nephew, as we're led to believe, Luke Skywalker.
yeah, yeah.
And of course, Baru Lars, who shouts up to remember, if you're buying a translator droid, tell Uncle Owen to get one that speaks Bachi.
And then, interestingly, that power droid there, that Gonk droid, is the one that was actually released as the action figure. But the one that's on the card back, it's nothing like
okay.
that. So, but that is the one, isn't it? That's the blue power droid.
Yeah. I do believe Luke does not relay the message from Aunt Beru. And but Uncle Owen, speaking to...
He remembered anyway,
remembers
didn't he?
anyway. It just shows you that Aunt Beru was always on his back. You know, the guy had a hard life as it was, and his wife's
Better
just
ask about the
constantly...
bloody botchy.
Yeah, constantly on his back.
Botchy this, botchy that.
Botchy this and botchy that. And C-3PO sells himself, even though Uncle Owen doesn't want a protocol droid. So Uncle Owen, the moisture farmer with the tough life, buys the most prissy droid he could find.
Yes.
Just because he can speak Bachi, just to keep the wife happy.
Yeah, I really need an English butler on this planet. That's what I really need.
Yeah. So whilst he's wasting money on an English butler, poor Luke's playing with a toy that he got 20 years ago, because, you know, Uncle Owen's never bought him one since.
But to be fair, he's just a collector. There's a lot of people I know that are still playing with things from 20 years
That's
ago.
true. He's taking it out of the box, though.
Yeah, it's worth nothing now.
Yeah. He gives R2 and C-3PO a bit of a wash and a bath. And during the cleanup, R2 starts playing a fragment of this recorded message from Princess Leia. And but nobody really knows what it is. And R2 says that he doesn't know either. Somehow,
Not
how
a
could
clue.
that possibly be? Luke, being a responsible child that he is, tells his adoptive parents all about it. Beru gives a kind of quizzical look at the mention of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Uncle Owen doesn't seem happy. Do you think that Aunt Beru knows Obi-Wan? There's something been happening there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Watch the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and find out.
And Luke's told to forget about it, basically. And he has a little bit of a strop. And we get the most iconic, perhaps, scene in cinema, I think, in the last century. I would call it this. This is the twin sons of Tatooine and Luke. Dreaming of what his life could be, I guess.
Looking wistfully off to the stars. Yeah. I mean, there are some classic, beautiful shots in this film. It's
Looks different with the snow, doesn't it?
it does look different with the snow. Or that could just be the ashes of Alderaan.
It is. Well, we're going to get to Ashes very shortly.
We're not there yet.
Not there yet. Nearly are. Later that evening, Luke learns that R2 has run away.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. You know, he spent all that money on a droid and it just licensed to rule itself. Imagine your mobile phone run away from you.
Here's a quick question for you, Brian. When you first watched Star Wars, if that's the only film you ever watched, I always felt that Luke and 3PO had got a closer relationship than Luke and R2. You see them driving together in the land speeder, and he's stood there talking with him there. Where the Luke and R2 relationship came from was really The Empire Strikes Back. But then from there on in, that's the pairing that you were given for the human and the droid pairing anyway. But for me, 3PO,
I think it's
he
down
was
to
he was the big droid for me.
initially C-3PO impresses you with his knowledge bank of
Yeah.
information, but over a short period of time, he irritates you to the point you want nothing to do with him.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think some questionable decisions made in the prequel trilogy. They really didn't use 3PO and R2 as much as they could have done.
No, the whole droid factory thing was kind of summed up.
Yeah.
Let's just sandwich them in somehow.
That was shocking, that was.
It was. It really was.
Anyway, back to this one.
Back to this one. Tusken Raiders notice said R2 unit driving across the desert. And then we get one of my favourite shots, obviously.
Well, of course.
The Bantha.
You know.
The Bantha that
Bantha for the
inspired
Fantha.
the Fantha.
Yeah.
Beautiful shot of our Bantha there.
Yeah.
And Luke gets ambushed, C-3PO gets ambushed, R2 hides in a cave, and the Tusken Raiders go looking to see what they can find. And a mysterious figure appears to rescue them. And it's revealed that that figure is Mr. Ben Kenobi.
Yes.
And
he's the only one that refers to himself as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and everybody else calls him Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
So surely he's right and everybody else is wrong.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But he basically says, I've got some puppies. Would you like to come back to my house? Everybody goes. Then he says, would you like to play with my weapon? And Luke plays with his weapon. As I look at C-3PO in this shot, just completely shut down. It makes me laugh every time I see it. It's the one thing people don't look at, but it's hilarious when you watch this scene play out, just to see C-3PO just sitting there completely.
It's very clever that they switched him off, because obviously that's one less thing to worry about when trying to match the lightsaber onto the screen. So yeah, very cool.
And Luke gets indoctrinated into the Jedi religion.
That's it. Ideologies. Terrible.
Yeah. And they watch the whole video from Princess Leia. And we learn that she's included in the R2 unit plans to a Death Star, a weapon of mass destruction. They claim energy project, according to all the Senate information that we have, publicly available information. And she's asking Obi-Wan Kenobi for help, and it's revealed that Ben Kenobi and Obi-Wan Kenobi are one and the two people, because the best way to go undercover and hide from the evil Galactic Emperor is to just change your first name and keep your last name.
That's right, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And Luke kind of mesmerised with the whole idea and wants to go and train to be a Jedi, but doesn't think he should because he's got responsibilities back on the farm.
What are your thoughts on the scene where we would have seen him at Toshi Station with Biggs and Tank?
I understand why it was cut. I don't think it added anything to it.
No, it's for pacing, really, wasn't it? It was removed.
Yeah.
But
because really, it doesn't become important that his friend's part of the rebels later, really, because he was already destined to join it. He was already going to be a rebel himself. It wasn't like he gave him any kind of influence, I don't feel.
No. I think
it really was the death of Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, which we're about to see, that is the pivotal moment that convinces him. I know. Terrible. But here, I think, is the most pivotal scene in the whole of Star Wars.
He's off again, folks. He's off.
Because this is a scene where they reveal that it's only at this very juncture that the Galactic Senate is shut down. So at this point, the Emperor has been in power for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And he's maintained democracy that entire time. And it's only after the events of Andor and Rogue One where there's basically an insurrection attempt to overthrow him and his power through non-democratic means that he ends the Senate. But does he bring the power back to himself? No, he gives it to regional governors. So again, not once has the Emperor seized power that wasn't awarded to him by the Senate, when you look at the story objectively.
So they're basically very warm and kind-hearted people.
Well, we're looking at Grand Moff Tarkin now, and, there's been issues. We can't deny that, there's maybe a public inquiry needed into questionable parking techniques on Gorman. But,
Well, I noticed Angela Rayner had already gone as well.
Yeah, on the other side of the coin, remember, these people collect spiders,
Yes. What's that all about?
Yeah. So I'm not saying the Emperor's a shining example of all that is good and great in the galaxy, but when you look at things objectively, things can be interpreted differently, especially when you've had such a leading introduction from the author of this story.
Yeah.
Of course, don't disagree with Vader. Might get choked a little bit.
A clip there from a very well-known Tunes advert.
Tunes advert, yeah. Indeed. Shocking quote next from Obi-Wan at this point. He accuses the Empire of destroying this sandcrawler because nobody's blaster shots are as accurate as a stormtrooper. Now, all physical evidence that we've seen over many decades, Paul, would indicate that stormtrooper blaster shots are not that accurate.
They're not very accurate at all, no.
So
no.
This is a lie from the Jedi religion.
My favourite part about this scene, though, Bri, is right at the start of it, which would have been just before where you are now, when you see 3PO in the background dumping a dead Jawa onto a fire.
To come. That's actually after
is
this
it?
scene.
Oh, no, I thought that was now.
He's basically, this is one of the critical moments where Obi-Wan convinces Luke to join him, and he's lied to him, basically.
Yeah.
By insinuating stormtroopers.
Do you think Obi-Wan killed Owen and Beru?
I think it's a distinct possibility. Anyway, Luke, realising that if they've killed the Jawas and they're looking for the droids, maybe they've gone to the homestead. So he races back. It's on smoke. And we get the crispy adoptive parents.
Half rice, half chips.
Yeah. Sad times.
Very sad. It's quite shocking, really, for a kids' film, that, isn't it?
It was. And that's basically those two events, the lies about the stormtrooper shots, and then the death is adoptive parents, is the two moments that change Luke's attitude and have him join the rebellion, in effect, and the Jedi faith.
Good for him.
Back on the Death Star, Princess Leia's getting her COVID jab. And she's not having the best of starts to relationships with her father, really.
She should be on Jeremy Kyle. This is shocking.
She should.
Got daddy issues.
And the scene that
there
you
we go.
alluded
This
to,
is what I was talking about.
C-3PO, and the way that he just dumps the Jawa's body onto the fire. Shocking way to treat any kind of deceased individual.
Living creature. Well, deceased, yeah.
Yeah. Droids, that's all I can say. So Luke, he's now decided he's going to become a Jedi like his father, and he is going to join the rebellion and get these plans to them. And he goes with Obi-Wan and the droids, and they head to Mos Eisley, which is described as a hive of scum and villainy. That's a shocking kind of description to come from a religious man like a Jedi.
If you get a chance, folks, get over to Scum and Villainy in LA. Fantastic place.
Similar kind of bar. They enter.
Yeah.
And Mos Eisley, Chulmer's bar. Chulmer, is that how you say it?
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
It's a bar with standards because they don't allow droids in. And it shows you how far the galaxy slips under Galactic Republic rule, because many years later we discover that the place is being run by droids. And shocking fall of standards.
You've even got IG-88's head in here. So.
Yeah, it's if you were a regular at this bar and you had to witness that descent of being a bar that banned droids to all the way to the fact that droids were running the place, you'd be very sad indeed. So C-3PO and R2 are told to stay outside, which is good because R2 was just about to come to the steps, and that wouldn't have been easy for him to navigate.
No. Yeah, here he is.
Yeah.
Called bum face.
Yeah. And he gets into an altercation with Luke. Doesn't like Luke. He's not the only one at this point, really, to be honest. He's not proven to be that popular character. And effectively, we get our next bit of violence where, rather than being a guardian of peace and justice, Obi-Wan immediately goes for violence and takes off the guy's arm. And then he goes looking to get smuggled off the planet, and goes to a drug smuggler in Han Solo.
It's the first thing you'd do. And his dog.
And his dog. And they negotiate a deal to get off the planet. And then Han encounters his own problems as he squares up with Greedo. Now, I've deliberately cut to this point because let's just not have the debate. Because we could be here all night.
You won't be here all night with me. I'm on your side with this one. Han shot first.
Here you
and
go.
Only.
Cold-blooded killer. Talking of cold-blooded killers, Boba Fett.
Ooh, yeah.
Han, my boy, you disappoint me. See, he's another good guy as Jabba. Wants Han to be respectable and upstanding. He's just disappointed that Han's not paying his debts.
Yeah. Just a businessman wanting to earn a crust.
Yeah.
Look at all those Greedos. Loads of Greedos.
Constantly referred to as a gangster is Jabba. People forget that it's in Hutt space, and thus Hutt laws apply, and thus everything he's doing is perfectly legal.
But I thought the inclusion of Boba Fett in that scene was brilliant.
It was a nice kind of link all the way through to Empire and beyond.
Except for the bit where, as he's walking off screen, he looks directly at camera as if to say, "Yeah, I'm here."
I quite liked the addition of Jabba as well, to be honest. And it's proven to be worthwhile because we've since had Hutts in Book of Boba Fett and the twins.
Yeah.
And we're going to get more in The Mandalorian and Grogu next year.
Yeah. We've got a very beefed up one, haven't we, in the clips that we've seen so far?
Probably getting some drugs from Han Solo, and he's gone a bit too far. Anyway, beyond that scene, as Han's preparing to take off with Luke and Obi-Wan, the Empire finally track them down, and they get into a little bit of a fight, but eventually they escape the planet. Meanwhile, over on the Death Star, which admittedly it's bad branding from the Empire really to call it that. They could have called it the Big Cuddly Ball or something else, you know.
Yeah, unnecessarily menacing. Yeah.
Just whoever's in charge of PR, it's not the best.
Yeah, it should have been called some sort of, defense globe or something. Yeah, it should have had some more pleasant name.
And obviously, Grand Moff Tarkin, very proud of his energy project, would like to demonstrate it to young Princess Leia to show her the kind of good that she could be doing for the galaxy instead of going about stealing things. So he powers up his energy project. And unfortunately, it goes a little bit wrong, Paul. Because previously, if you remember, when they've demonstrated that, where have we seen it demonstrated at Jeddah?
And
and Scarif. Both times,
Scarif, yeah.
just gave the planet little warmed the planet up a little bit.
He's certainly warmed them up.
Yeah, they've overcooked it with Alderaan, haven't they? Really. And Alderaan goes pop. Unfortunate. But we should remember at this point, Alderaan was ruled by an undemocratic monarchy who put their own politicians like Bail Organa in charge. So, they were quite cruel, really, to their people.
And then an adopted princess.
Stole her from the mother at birth.
Couldn't even be bothered to be there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Obi-Wan, he feels it. He's been to Alderaan before. We saw that in the TV series. Mm-hmm. And he has to have a seat. We actually get to see our first proper inside of the Millennium Falcon, which becomes quite iconic. And Luke, he carries on his training. Han refers to it as a hokey religion. And they continue on their journey. And unfortunately, when they arrive at Alderaan, it's disappeared due to the malfunctioning energy project. And but to ensure that there's no risk of the Millennium Falcon flying into the debris from the planet, the very kind people at the Death Star decide to use their tractor beam to pull the Millennium Falcon in to keep it safe.
Very kind.
Very kind. Here we go. They are getting pulled into the hangar bay. Also a very iconic Ralph McQuarrie drawing and a very iconic matte painting as well.
Those are the space troopers as well.
Yeah. Not
From
often seen.
No.
And they go to inspect the Falcon to try and see who's on board. And they find nobody because they're hiding in the drug compartments. Shocking individual.
They got no drugs.
Yeah. And consumed all the drugs. There's no drugs in there. Or was there? Has Obi-Wan been topping up on drugs at this point? Because he gets them all to dress up as stormtroopers and they go on an adventure through the Death Star. And
he doesn't bother getting dressed up.
He doesn't bother getting dressed up. Everybody else did. And Han and Luke, they go to rescue Princess Leia. End up killing a lot of people, and Han starts making jokes on the Tannoy. And we meet a young Princess Leia who's really just flirting with the guards at this point, isn't she?
Yeah. After a bit more food.
And they all end up in the garbage compactor as they try to escape.
As a kid, this was my favourite 5 minutes of the film.
Was it?
I loved the garbage.
I hate the scene.
I loved the trash compactor. Do you really?
Yeah.
I loved
it just feels like filler. But the trash compactor obviously starts and they're about to get squashed, and eventually R2 rescues them.
Of course.
Which is the first practical, sensible use of a droid in the movie that wasn't criminal in nature. A droid doing good, a rare thing. Obi-Wan, meanwhile, he's powering down the tractor beams so they can escape. Lovely matte shot there.
It was really well done, wasn't it? Yeah.
Han's mucking about, running into stormtroopers.
Which version have you used here? Oh, no, you haven't. I was going to see whether he went around the corner for 4 stormtroopers or
No, I didn't. I cut it out because I hate it. I liked it when it was 4 stormtroopers. I hate it when there's like 100.
And a TIE fighter and goodness knows what else.
Yeah, there's loads of people up in the balcony and everything. Look at Leia go swinging across. They're effectively on their way to escape. Obi-Wan has sought out Darth Vader. They have felt each other's presence through the Force.
That's his Christmas.
A very iconic scene. And what a shot of Vader. And it reminds me, they mirrored this shot almost perfectly in Rogue One.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we get our first ever lightsaber battle. Not as sophisticated and dramatic a lightsaber battle as we get to see in many other Star Wars products. But you got to remember, this is a very old Obi-Wan Kenobi and a very crippled, deformed Darth Vader at this juncture.
Yeah. There was something I was watching the other day where they were complaining about how Star Wars lightsaber fights went from being the sort of thing that we see in, say, Empire, Jedi, Phantom Menace, and then you get to the Rise of Skywalker, where sort of like Rey and Kylo Ren are sort of going at it, and it's sort of like sluggish and but I kind of get it because neither of them really are trained swordsmen, lightsaber men. Yeah, I think they're right to have done it the way they did it. But yeah, what's your favourite lightsaber battle? Have you got one?
I like Count Dooku against Obi-Wan and Anakin, and then Yoda joins in. Because there's a mix of really fun action and humour. But there's all sorts of little elements as well where like he swings down the lightsaber and he cuts the tube and the sparks go off. There's just all sorts of little nice little elements to that whole way that whole scene's put together.
When you first saw Yoda bouncing around in that, what did you think? Do you think, yeah, I can kind of be on board with this, or did you
I just thought
that would
benefits
never
cheap.
Benefits cheap. That's exactly what I thought.
That's what I thought. That's straight away what my mind went to. Phony religion, benefits cheap. That's what I was thinking. It's when he just starts hobbling afterwards again. It's just like, come on now.
We've seen you.
We've seen you. You've been spotted. I'm reporting you to the Department of Work and Pensions.
Meanwhile,
Luke's been watching. He sees the fight going on. He sees Obi-Wan effectively sacrifice himself and get struck down and killed and disappear as if by magic.
Yeah. Gone.
Gone. Dear. And did so Luke, Han and Leia could escape. Sacrificed himself for the greater good, as they say in Hot Fuzz.
Yeah. Now, as a kid, which is a great film, but as a kid, I always thought that if you were touched by a lightsaber, that you would disappear. I'd forgotten that earlier on. You saw
I was kind of the same. I kind of thought that's what happens when you get killed by a lightsaber. As a young person, it didn't think of it's something to do with the Force and this is different from another death kind of thing. I guess we should have, because we saw the arm get cut off in the cantina. Yeah. But I just thought that's what happens when you get struck down by a lightsaber.
And then you get Darth Vader treading on you just to make sure that you're not in it.
I've always wondered, is it just his cloak that gets left behind, or is it all his clothes? Is his pants in there? It's never ever been revealed in any Star Wars content. Is it all clothes?
It's a bit strange.
Why is it just the cloak?
And how come your lightsaber stays there as well?
Yeah.
So I wonder who ends up having that.
Yeah. What about your jewellery?
I reckon there should be a Marvel comic book now where Vader gives that lightsaber to somebody.
Do you end up in the world between worlds? Is that what we're led to believe now?
Who, Obi-Wan?
Yeah, when he dies here.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know where he's gone.
Because I'm just wondering if he rocks up there butt naked.
Sorry, didn't have time.
Yeah, didn't have time.
But I mean, he was like within seconds. He's going, "Run, Luke, run!" So it's sort of like straight there, wasn't he? He was there to help Luke get away from the Death Star. But it was all rather easy, as we're about to find out.
Yeah.
They got away a bit too easy, I thought.
But as you say, the Falcon escapes. It heads to Yavin 4.
Yeah.
Not much going on compared to Andor.
No.
Very quiet. And basically, everybody from Andor's left. When things are getting rough, it looks like there's a fight about to happen. They all bugger off.
They're all gone. They're all buggered off.
And on Yavin, the rebels have the Emperor's plans. To be honest, not the most detailed of plans.
No, and the circle's in the wrong part. If that's meant to be the dish, they got that completely wrong when
Yeah,
they did the graphics for that.
that's what happens when you get prison labourers building it, and it's built all wrong. That's why it went wrong. That's why didn't end up being an effective energy project, and it ended up blowing up all around completely by accident because they went against the Emperor's
So
plans.
it should look more like it did on the screen there. Then.
Yeah, that's what the Emperor wanted. You see, and obviously they've built something else against his wishes. Shocking.
It's all starting to make
It
sense.
does. It makes sense when you think about it. It ends up at Yavin 4. It's almost there. Don't know why it landed on the opposite side of the moon and has to travel around slowly. Why it couldn't just hyperspace jump a little bit more?
Exactly.
Don't know. But it gives the rebels time to have a little meeting, and they've prepared their own graphics package, which makes me think someone's been sat there at Rebel HQ. We'll just code up this little graphics package, and to show their intentions, they wanted complete destruction and death to the millions of workers, civil servants on board that Death Star. Look at that little explosion.
Death to the civil servants.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. And Han, he's not sticking around. He's got his cash and big money tins, and he's leaving. Poor Chewbacca there, getting harassed by C-3PO in the background.
Was he harassing him?
Well, look, it's like he's got money now, and all of a sudden C-3PO wants to be his friend.
Admin. Yeah, admin, you see. Why don't they just nick C-3PO and melt him down? He must be worth a bit.
Yeah. And Luke, he's going to be a pilot. And they all head off in their X-Wings, including Wedge and Tilly's.
Hey,
and they all command it here. Where's Mon Mothma? Where's Bail Organa? Where's all the rest of the Andor crew? And why was Moustache Guy not in Andor?
Yeah, because he would have been much missed. He's actually in the what's he in? He's in the Star Wars Holiday Special, isn't he? That character.
I think he is. Yeah,
he is. Yeah.
Anyway, on the opposite side, as well as all the guns mounted on top of the Death Star to protect the energy project, Darth Vader comes out with two other TIE fighters because, a space station that's designed to, as an energy project you would imagine wouldn't have much military, and so it makes sense there's only 3 ships to protect it. If it was a military violent thing designed to blow up planets, you would think it would have thousands of ships on board, but it doesn't. Just the 3. And the rebels are there with their targeting computers that become somewhat iconic graphics in a way. And they're there. Luke's there. He wants to kill millions of people because that's the first thing you want to do to restore peace and justice to the galaxy. And once you join your Scientology type religion. Yes, he's given up all good ethics. He's become a mass murderer within a few hours. His father's trying to kill him as well. That's obviously that affects you as a child. And
he ejected his daughter.
Without any explanation or reason, Han comes back and effectively fires shots at Vader that causes him to spiral away and tells Luke to blow this thing and we can go home, which is a shocking attitude. Again, casual, wanting to kill millions.
Why not?
There's Vader spiraling away.
Trying to see what was going on there. Yeah, there.
Nobody went to help him afterwards. There's rules about war. And
it took him ages to get back as well.
It did.
In fact, where did he go after that? Has it ever been told?
There is a story that got told. I don't know if it's still canon now. It did get told. Yeah. And Luke fires his shots into the exhaust port. The Death Star goes pop.
In a really cool way.
It did. Pop's very different in 1977 than it does in 1996.
Yeah. Few sparklers, and that was it.
they're not worried having just caused millions of deaths to government workers. You would think that they would soon scarper from their hidden rebel base. But they don't. They stick around and they organise a grand ceremony. And they even get medals made up. So they've been there for weeks and weeks afterwards. In come Luke, Han and Chewbacca. Out of everybody that sacrificed their lives, people like Wedge Antilles that was out there, he doesn't get a medal. Just these three. From their friend, Princess Leia. And who doesn't get one?
Yeah.
Chewbacca.
You've the dog medal.
I don't know what you would call that. Wookieist.
Definitely Wookieist.
Yeah. And that is the end of the film.
What a great film. I might watch that.
Do
you recommend it?
I do. I was enjoying it to the part that the Death Star came and blew up Alderaan, and then it kind of took a downward spiral to me.
Did you thought that was sort of like what, a bit of a misdirection?
Well, I'm just a believer in democracy, really, Paul, is what it is.
But not droids.
I don't like droids either. None of this would have. There would have been peace. There would have been peace in the galaxy under the rule of the Emperor. There was generally peace in the galaxy under the rule of the Emperor. Nobody stepped out of line. It's a little bit like North Korea. People behave themselves. And
it's a little bit like North Korea.
No one takes money from the government that they haven't earned. You don't see people in dinghies trying to make their way to North Korea, do you? It's a much better organisation when there's peace in a country.
There might be a reason.
I don't know. And so there's just the lack of concern for democracy is just. And if it hadn't been for two droids who should be programmed to do the right thing, to not do illegal things. And this is the danger of artificial intelligence when you start to allow it to break the law.
Oh dear, what do you like?
You're going to have artificial intelligence used to commit crime, just like R2-D2 and C-3PO.
It's already happening. So we've got a trilogy there that was sort of weirdly thrust upon us once Andor had been made. We've got Andor seasons 1 and 2, Rogue One, and then Star Wars: A New Hope, making up this weird little trilogy, which is all based around the Death Star. It's kind of neat, isn't it, that after all these years we've been able to not only get Rogue One from the opening crawl of Star Wars, but then also, because it was so popular, it spawned the Andor, 2 seasons of Andor, which are a prequel to Rogue One in its own right. Who could have imagined this, even sort of just a few years ago? It's brilliant.
For me, the interesting part is the fact that probably the most successful, it's not commercially the most successful, because that's obviously The Force Awakens by a long way, but in terms of critical response, fan response, Rogue One would probably be seen as the most successful film in the Disney era.
Absolutely.
Same with Andor. It hasn't got the highest view numbers, but in terms of critical response, fan response, and reaction to it in general, Andor, the most successful of the Star Wars TV shows.
Yeah.
What do Rogue One and Andor have in common? They are most closely linked to what Star Wars is at its core. And the further you go away from what Star Wars is at its core, the less it's enjoyed. Now, and I don't mean just in timeline and storyline that is deeply connected to A New Hope. I mean in terms of the values and what the story it's trying to tell, the very essence of good versus evil.
Yeah. If you apply sort of modern ideology to Star Wars, it doesn't work. You've got to still have that sort of mid to late 70s mindset. And aesthetically as well, Rogue One, when I first saw that, it was such a beautiful film to watch. Even like the little bits where you suddenly see Ponda Barber and Dr. Everson out in the streets, and you could see like an ATST walker in the background they don't make a big thing of it. You just see one just sort of like trudging
Yep.
through the streets. It was so well done. And when Andor came out, um, I mean, Rogue One is Star Wars without too much Star Wars attached to it, and it's the same with Andor. If
Yep.
anything, Andor's got even less
It's
Star
taking
Wars
the core
associated with
values
it.
of Star Wars and
Yeah,
being its own thing. And
yeah,
plus, it allows the viewer to pick. So beyond the opening crawl, which is very biased, you can watch that and you can look at it and you can think, okay, so these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. But the good
yeah.
guys aren't all good.
No. Well, and they tell us that straight away, don't
Yeah.
they? With Andor when he kills one of his long term associates.
Everything's subjective, and there's a
Yeah,
war here, and the war shapes people's decisions, and people
yeah,
do bad things to achieve as Hot Fuzz says,
yeah.
the greater good.
Well, yeah, well, they're great, good, but I mean, Obi-Wan delivers one of the best lines. He delivers it in The Empire Strikes Back when he says that many of the truths that we hold on to depend greatly on our own point of view. And that's so true. I mean, anybody that supports a certain political party, they do that because that's their beliefs. Nobody believes that they're the bad person. Well, not many do. I mean, you believe in what you believe in, and other beliefs go against who you are and what you believe in. Um, so yeah, for me, that nailed it. And then there was a great poster as well, which you may have seen when you were growing up, right? There was, I never bought it. I really regret it. I must look it up, see if I can find it. It was basically all the Yoderisms from The Empire Strikes Back in Maine. Then there's a couple from Jedi, I think. But basically, how to lead your life according to Yoda, and it was spot on. you know. So the ideology of Star Wars back in the day, which didn't seem politically aligned to anything, it seemed to be its own
No.
thing.
And obviously, it's on the back of the Vietnam War,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
in itself was uh, good versus evil. But who's the evil? Who's the good? Because you've
Well,
got one
yeah,
big, powerful country against a very small country, and
yeah.
a lot of mixed feelings in that in terms of justification, whether people want to be part of it, and so on.
Well, that's why
Um,
when
but it
yeah,
doesn't, whilst it may pick up on the themes on people's minds from that, it doesn't directly reference
no,
anything to do
no,
with that, and that's why it works. And I think this is in modern terms where people are trying to do modern takes on things. They push things a little bit too close to current modern affairs
yeah,
rather than the principles behind the current modern affairs, and they get
yeah.
that they're on the wrong side of the line.
You don't want to be on the wrong side of history, do you? At the
Yeah,
end of this,
and
yeah,
it was kind of it was kind of emphasised a little bit today. Something I saw in the news just before we sat down to record this was a BBC reporter challenging Nigel Farage about comments that he made as a child at school.
Ah,
And Nigel Farage hit back at him with, well, when I was making those comments 40, 50 years ago, the BBC had Alf Garnett and other such programmes on air. So are you criticising me for that? Should I criticise you for what you were doing 40, 50 years ago? And there's that.
it's a good point.
Yeah, and it's that
Yeah,
balance. It's the perception of things and how things fit in context.
yeah,
And there's things about Star Wars that still resonate today, and I think Andor, and I think we were very clear in that, resonated very much with people to do with very much modern, current political affairs. But as the writers
yeah,
clearly pointed out, we were actually writing this before any of these things happened. We weren't predicting it was going to happen. It
yeah.
just happened to land and sit at the
It
very
was
right kind of
weird.
time. And so it
Yeah,
is when you
yeah,
pick themes, and it's
yeah,
not picking a political issue, but when you pick a theme and write about the theme, it works. When
yeah.
you pick a political issue and try to write about that, I don't think it works, because I think you'll always find that you split opinion 50-50.
Well, the split opinion, but also it dates rapidly because it becomes part of that movement,
Yes.
and
And I
two or
think
three years
that's
down the line, it's stale.
you're dead on, because that's why Star Wars 50 years later still works,
Yeah,
because you can still apply the themes. from Star Wars A New Hope to what's
Yeah.
going on in the world today.
Yeah. It's not long now till the big party.
Very true.
Star Wars Celebration 2027. Have you already said that you can't make that because of?
Well, I don't know if
You were
America will
cool.
let me in.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I think. Well, we'll have our own party here. We'll do our own
It all
thing.
depends on how Scotland do at the World Cup. There could be a ban on Scottish nationals and entering America.
What have you and Mr. McHugh got it lined up for us?
Well,
Goodness
just
me.
before we're recording this on Thursday evening, so the draw for the World Cup's on Friday, I reckon
yeah.
we're going to get America.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
Do you
very
think
high
Trump?
chance that Scotland are going to get one of the host 3 countries,
Yeah.
and it could well be America.
Okay.
I'm
well,
hoping
you
for
heard it.
America, Haiti, and Concau, and then we've got a chance.
I heard it here first, and you're going to hear it after it's actually announced, folks. So yeah.
Yeah. There we go. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I reckon England will get like a real tough set of games and they'll be on their way home.
Good.
And on that bombshell,
On that bombshell. That's us for this week.
That's it.
The Death Star Cometh. Apart from the fact, what's coming up at Christmas and New Year? Are we doing live shows, Paul, or are we going to have pre-records?
I think we'll do mostly live, Bri, but I think there's going to be the opportunity for a pre-record at some point. I'm sure.
So we've had the Death Star Cometh.
Yeah.
So what can you do after the Death Star Cometh? What could we possibly cover next?
You haven't got a graphic, have you, Bri?
Well, I'm trying to make one.
Eh.
The Death Star Cometh 2. So
No expense spent.
no expense spared there. When we come back, we'll be live once again on the 14th of December. But when we're next having a break, we're going to have to cover the Death Star Cometh 2. And we'll be starting with The Empire Strikes Back. Where the Empire gets some justice. They get their kicks in before Return of the Jedi, and we get Death Star 2.
But don't forget, after that, we can also have Star Killer Base. Because that's
true.
effectively a Death Star. Yeah.
Somehow the Death Star returns.
Returned, yeah. Yeah. I look forward to doing Empire. That'll be good.
So we can look forward to that. But we'll be back with a live show on the 14th.
We will.
And we'll have all the Star Wars news. I'm hoping there'll be some Mandalorian and Grogu news by then, because
Are we hoping
I
for a
do
trailer?
believe there'll be a Comic-Con in Brazil where there might be some news or content revealed.
We could do with a trailer, couldn't we? I mean, we're 6 months out now.
We could. It's definitely getting the solo marketing vibe, isn't it?
Yeah. Hurrah.
But, definitely.
Oh, dear.
And on that note, I think it's time for me to say it's a good night from me.
And it's a good night from here. Good night.
Keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news each and every day on FanthaTracks.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, and Pinterest at FanthaTracks. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow FanthaTracks TV to be alerted to new content and to be a part of our live shows.